Hello all, it's Crystal from Beautifully Broken Crafts Hauls in Morgan, and I have another DIY video for you guys. For DIY number one, I am taking this squared frame I had picked up from the Dollar Tree. I removed the galvanized X and O, and I'm just using that little vacuum there because there was some glue stuck, so I just used my nails to scrape it off in the vacuum to suck up any of the little flakes. And then I'm going to use my painter's tape to cover the inside of the white frame because I'm going to paint that black part with 3 coats of white Waverly chalk paint. Once that chalk paint has dried, I'm going to put on some Mod Podge because I plan on using a vinyl decal I had cut out on my Cricut Maker. So I just squirt some Mod Podge on the insert there, use a paintbrush to smooth it all around, and then I will remove the painter's tape and touch up the Mod Podge where I felt necessary. Once that Mod Podge had set up and dried, I took this little gnome decal I had cut out with the Cricut Maker, and I am sticking it to the inside of that frame there. Some of the paint still lifted up even though I put Mod Podge down first, but you will see me go over and fix it as much as I can. I end up just touching it up with some paint and going over this gnome again with some Mod Podge to seal it all in. Next, I'm going to take one of these heart-shaped cookie cutters I had on hand from Walmart. There was like a pack of 6 of them, I think it was, for 97 cents. And I'm just going to hot glue this over to the side here, and then I am going to smooth out that hot glue around that might have seeped out. I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue in the center of that heart, and then I'm going to use these beads I had on hand from Dollar Tree just to fill in that heart so it'll look like it's all like a shaky, like a balloon with confetti or something in it. There we go. And it doesn't all stay stuck down. I just did it enough to stick some of it down, and then I am going to take a piece of plastic I had on hand from those wooden cutout stickers you can get from Dollar Tree, just to put over top of this heart so none of the loose beads fell out. And I end up using a combination of super glue and hot glue to put that piece of plastic down, and I'll use my X-Acto knife to cut out the shape of the heart, and also a lighter to melt it down a little bit as well. Here you see I'm just touching up some of the spots where the white paint had peeled off when I was taking the transfer tape off. And once that is done, I use a black paint marker to draw what looks like a string from that cookie cutter to the gnome's hand that will make it look like he is holding the balloon. Then I took some stickers I had on hand from the Dollar Tree and just embellished this frame a little bit. So I used this heart swag off to one side, and in the other hand of him, because it was still, you could still see some of the little bit of paint missing, I had him holding a rose there. That way it took away from the mistakes. And there, that is all completed. So let me know what you guys think of that little DIY I had completed. And now on to DIY number 2. I am taking another one of those wood rounds I have on hand from Amazon, and I'm going to take a piece of painter's tape, and I am going to mark this off about 3/4 of the way up or down, however you want to say it. And I am going to use my Truffle Waverly chalk paint in combination with water to give the bottom part of this heart, not heart, sorry, round, a faux stain. And then the top part, I will use the white Waverly chalk paint to cover the raw wood. And I will use a napkin to wipe off any excess of that brown watered down paint. That way you can still see some of the wood grain, but not too much of it. As you see, I moved that painter's tape so I could fill in more of that gap that's between the white and the faux stain. And I'm going to fill that in with the white Waverly chalk paint as well. And then I think I don't have the footage of it, but I do go in with my black paint marker just to do like a thin black stripe between the two colors as well. Once that is done, I'm going to take this cutout I have from my Cricut Maker. I just pulled it from the design space that says Hello Valentine. I had cut out with some pink heat transfer vinyl, and I used my my easy press to push that down, well, to seal that down at 300 degrees for 40 seconds. And I had to go back over it a little bit here and there just to make sure that vinyl was secured down. And then I will lift up the plastic, and then I am going to use one of my red paint markers to draw little tiny hearts in the white section of this round. And then you will see me at the end use a piece of jute twine I had on hand from Dollar Tree and hot glue it to the back of this, along with 2 little strips of ribbon to make sure that twine was down so I can hang this from my back door. And here's this one all completed hanging up from my back door. Let me know what you guys think of this one. Now on to DIY number 3. I decided I wanted to make a t-shirt with that infusible ink. Sorry for the ringing, you guys. Paper that Marcus had given me for Christmas. So I had this extra large white Gildan t-shirt on hand from the Dollar Tree. And I just laid it on a towel, and then I put inside of it a piece of cardboard that was wrapped in a towel, and then a piece of Teflon paper in between the towel and the shirt, because infusible ink sheets do have a tendency to bleed through once the heat is applied. I then use my lint roller to get off any excess lint and the easy press to iron it out a little bit, and then I am going to use my easy press at 360 degrees for 120 seconds per section to have this ink infuse into the t-shirt. And it's just an XO design. I had to print it out that was already in Cricut Design Space on some leopard print infusible ink sheets that Marcus had given me. It is a little faded in one section, but I don't really care. It's just for me to wear around the house, maybe on Valentine's Day or whatnot. And here is the t-shirt completed, so let me know what you guys think of that. And on to this next DIY. So I had this little shadow box frame on hand from Walmart. I got it on clearance, I think end of last summer for $1. And I'm just popping out the back of it. I did have to use my X-Acto knife because it was in there pretty good just to loosen up the edges of the paper and glue. But after I did that, I was able to pop that out with ease. I'm going to rip off as much as that printed paper you guys see in there already as I can, and then I'm going to use a piece of scrapbook paper I have on hand, and I'm going to use a glue stick to glue it down to that insert I just popped out with I said a glue stick, right? I'm pretty sure I did. And then I'm going to pop it back into this frame. As you see here, I'm just using that Arteza squeegee I have on hand to smooth out any bubbles, and my sanding sponge to trim down the edges in a downward motion on that paper. That way there's no overhang of the paper. Now I'm taking this little piece that was on the inside of this in the center originally, and I'm sanding down as much as I can of the black words there. But eventually I end up just flipping this over and painting the back side of it with the ballet slipper in pink paint. And I'm going to use this little ceramic house ornament I had got from Walmart for 98 cents that says "Love is patient and kind." And I am going to use a combination of hot glue and super glue to attach that wooden piece I'm painting right there to the inside of the frame. And then I'm going to use a combination of the Fix-All super glue and hot glue to adhere that ceramic house to that piece of wood. That way it has a permanent hold on it. And I am going to have this with a 3D effect with the original blocks that were on the bottom of this little piece here. And that I just used hot glue for. I did decide to use some hot glue in the seam of that insert with the frame just for extra stability because of the weight of that little house I had glued in there, but it seemed to work. And then I'm going to use one of the white foam roses I have on hand from Dollar Tree to embellish the inside of this just a little bit by that house, and then you guys will see the finished product. So once you do, let me know what you guys think of this DIY. So there she is, all completed. I think it turned out super cute. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure that you hit the like button, subscribe, and all that goodness. And thank you so much for watching. I love you all so much.